This is not a review of Starfield. I put about 50 hours into Starfield, and it was pretty mediocre. I'm not going to be coming back to it like I did Skyrim or Fallout 3 or New Vegas, but I put this probably around Fallout 4 or a little bit below. It was nice to see Bethesda try and do something new, but I just don't think they brought enough to this genre to make it feel new. Instead, it just felt like a generic space exploring game. While there were definitely some cool moments and things that got me excited, there was one moment in particular when I flew into a system that had me smiling ear to ear. My favorite thing about Starfield were the derelict ships and the derelict space stations. These old abandoned structures that you could go look through and get more environmental storytelling versus shitty dialogue like most of the other quests in the game. Each station and spaceship has its reason for being abandoned, which is usually explained through the environment once you're at these locations. Typically, this has to do with pirates and fighting something, so almost every single abandoned spaceship or space station you go to is going to have a group of enemies that want to fight you, but that's what made this one so different. When I boarded the ship, I assumed it was going to be spacers holding their crew hostage like it happened so many other times, and I would just have to blast my way through poor AI and bullet sponges, but that's not the case. Unlike any other spaceship I'd boarded previously, nothing happened when I boarded. I wasn't met with guards holding me up, asking me who I was. I wasn't met with pirates trying to break into a vault. I was met with nothing. I slowly maneuvered about the spacecraft, just trying to figure out what was going on. And when I found the first log saying that something was wrong with the ship and mentions of an interloper and something had been picked up from a different planet, I started grinning because I knew. It was the generic space trope alien aboard our ship that every single space media has done at some point, and I love that shit. The idea of a disease or an alien or something that can corrupt you, that's gonna pop out of your stomach, jump across, tear you apart, the dead space artifact on the ship turning people into creatures. There's so much excitement because it's just true horror, true space horror, and I love that. The dark potentials of what could happen when mankind leaves the Earth and is presented with a new threat, one that it's not prepared for. To add to it, I'd never seen Bethesda attempt at horror. I've never seen them do anything that is truly scary. They can set up kind of creepy scenes with like the Dark Brotherhood from the Elder Scrolls games, but nothing true horror. This was their chance. This was the first time that Bethesda was showing me a new side of them, something that they hadn't done before. And as I picked through the logs, it had me going from point to point around the ship. The life support was down, so they had told, Billy the mechanic to go and check it. So I go over to life support, and Billy's dead body is there clutching a handgun or an axe. He had tried to fend off whatever was there. Separately, I had people in another area, a body bag in the med bay, people in the crew quarters laying there dead, wondering, did they take their own life before the creature could get to them? And then the question arises, where is the creature? The eerie ambiance of the ship, the creaking, clicking, and tattering of machines had me on the edge of my seat. The first time in Starfield that I was truly excited for what was about to happen. This happened later in my playthrough, so while I was a strong character, I didn't have the best gear in the game. I didn't have the best skills, the highest HP. I was excited. Was it just one animal? Were there more? Were they multiplying or breeding? This mission had me going into the vents every turn, every 90-degree corner, wondering, am I going to see it? Is it going to scream? Is it going to scare me? And then I came across the locked door. On the inside, I could see ooze, guts, grime sticking to the walls, dripping down, and my heart starts pounding. I'm excited. It is here. This is where this creature is that slaughtered this crew and its captain. What am I going to do? And then I look through that window, and I see it. All the mystery, the horror, just completely removed. Because it's a Bethesda game. There is no horror. It's always just going to be a creature walking in a set loop. And there it was, the interloper, walking in a loop around the room, making a little squelching noise as its little arachnid legs punctured the floor. I got lucky and picked the master lock on my first try, and it went like every other combat encounter in the game. I used the Force, and I held mouse 1. My terror bled away as it was just a basic high health pool enemy. All that build up and excitement was just completely nullified because of their game design and their AI design. They had a moment, they had a fleeting moment to do something so special with this mission, but they chose not to. But what I will go on to say is that whoever designed this, whoever was in charge of adding this to the game, truly loves what they do, because the environmental storytelling in this instance was fantastic and some of the best that I've ever seen from Bethesda. Even though it is a trope of all of the space genre games and movies, it is a fantastic trope, and somebody who designed this loves that trope, and I so appreciate them for putting this in the game. Even still, I thought to myself that, well, there's only one thing that I can do. I don't know if these are egg pods in this bay. These could be more creatures just waiting to spawn. So I did the only rational thing. I hurried back to my ship. I ejected from the bay. I swung around, and I let my cannons rip to make sure that I would destroy this creature and all of its spawn and make sure that it never harmed another person in this universe. But because it's a Bethesda game, it didn't work, because that's a set piece, and you can't destroy or interact with a set piece. It's just there for you to look, not touch. Bethesda, you were so close to perfection in this one moment, so close to delivering exactly what you wanted out of an experience. I think Starfield's an okay game. It's not worth $70. I'd say it's worth 30. It's worth a try, but you will be faced with experiences like this throughout your whole gameplay run. Starfield is the Bethesda game where they really forgot to take off the training wheels. Thanks for watching.